outbreaks we faced along the way, we remained committed to our vision. And truthfully, I think that this work was one of the key things that has helped us to recover from our experience over the last 2 years, and to continue to give staff, residents, and families hope for a brighter future. The accreditation process itself involves many steps. Over the course of 2.5 years, we had 3 qualitative observational audits to help measure our progress. We received consultancy and support from Meaningful Care Matters. We provided 8 modules of training staff to help enable them to make emotional connections with residents, as well as to gain a greater understanding of the complex needs of those who are living with a dementia. We created unique households to support people at different stages of their dementia journey, and we enhanced the environment so that it would look and feel more like home. I am so pleased to share that Sunnyside Home is the first butterfly home in Waterloo region. Sunnyside has been accredited with a level 1 outstanding butterfly home and met 97 out of 100 indicators. This is the highest rating, and Sunnyside is the first home in Canada to receive this rating of outstanding. The impact of this work has resulted in an improved quality of life for residents, a transformed environment, decreased use of antipsychotics, and improved morale of staff. If we look specifically at the residents, people living in the home have strong and meaningful relationships with one another, with staff, and it feels very much like what you would feel at home with your family. There are many examples of loving relationships, including hugs, laughter, and comfort being provided throughout the day. Staff have taken the time to learn more about each other and about the residents and stories of the people who live in the home so that they can connect in a meaningful way. And family members, staff, leadership, and guests are welcomed and treated like they're one of our family. I'd like to show you a glimpse of what the environmental transformation looks like. Here you see photos of the 2 home areas before we started our journey. You will notice that they are painted in neutral tones, objects are minimized, and though it is neat and clean, it certainly lacks color, vibrancy, and life. Today, each home area has a unique feel. The entrances feel like houses to a neighborhood, with brightly colored front doors, blue skies on the ceiling, as well as flowers and trees along the walls. Inside, the walls are full of color, texture, and objects that tells the story of the people who live there. In addition to the changes that we saw with residents and with the environment, we also saw a significant decrease in the percentage of residents who received antipsychotic medications. We look at the Laurel Creek home area. In 2019, 43% of the residents living in that home area received antipsychotic medications, compared to 0% in August of 2022. Similarly, in the Buttonworks home areas, 30% of residents received antipsychotics in 2019, compared to a reduction of 15% in August of 2022. The impact of staff has been so significant. And I'd like to share a short video of one of our staff members, Holly, who describes the impact.
The butterfly model and the whole journey was really fulfilling for me. It really reiterated why I got into this field, and I think the whole butterfly model kind of put the care back in long-term care.
So I hear they call you Sweet Marie. Are you Sweet Marie?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you are pretty sweet.
I always felt kind of like you worked in a factory. You had schedules, you had tasks, these things had to get done. This new model of care really focuses on person-centered care, and we're supporting all different aspects of the person. We're supporting their emotional needs, their spiritual needs. It's allowed us to build friendships, to make connections, and to just be close to one another. Like I said, to bring the love and the compassion back into the job that we did. I actually work in a school, and it's filled with youth and laughter and fun, uplifting times. And I really can say that that has been now brought into my long-term care home. It is colorful and it is joyful, and there's laughter and it's fun, and we dress up, and you know, it's really been eye-opening to me to see that the feeling I had working in a school, I also have now working in a long-term care home, which is really the way I think it should be. My proudest moment would be when a coworker says, if my spouse or family member ever needed care, I would want you to provide that care. So that was a really excellent moment for me, a very happy moment. And even some of my residents, when, I say, I love you, and the response is a smile, and they say, I know. And those are truly my happy moments.
In the video, you heard Holly speak about that feeling of putting tasks before people and the desire of staff to get back to what brought them into this work in the first place. And I think when I talked earlier about needing this project to move forward with hope and to recover after this experience, this is what it was all about for staff. It was wanting to be able to get back to what matters to them and what matters most, and that's being together and having the opportunity to change someone's day. Staff working in these home areas now know that what they do really matters, and that they have a difference. They have the opportunity and the ability to make a difference in every resident's life every day. This was reflected in a recent survey that we did, where staff noted that they have enough time to do what's important in their jobs. They believe their work is appreciated, and they feel recognized for their contributions. It's an understatement to say how incredibly proud I am of our staff at Sunnyside for what they have accomplished, and the transformation has been nothing short of amazing and inspirational. There are way too many people to possibly thank for this work, but I so appreciate your kind words towards Connie Lacey and her leadership. And we also have Kelly and Lindsay on this call today who co-led the project to its success. We would also like to extend our appreciation to the many partners within the region who supported us in achieving this important milestone. As we look forward, we will continue to maintain accreditation status through staff training and ongoing environmental transformation. Staff who work in other areas of the home are asking for this change as they see the potential and value of this work. We are really excited to continue to grow and spread the principles of emotion-focused models of care throughout Sunnyside Home. And lastly, I'll say that every moment of this journey has been worth it, even the hardest ones. My greatest hope is that long-term care homes across the world will be inspired and choose to fight for a future in long-term care that ensures residents will never live a day in their home without purpose, without love, and without joy. Thank you so much.
Sorry. Thanks, Julie. And I see a few questions, and I'm going to start with Councillor McGarry.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you, I wanted to start with a couple of comments, and I just wanted to applaud you and give kudos, not just to Connie Lacey and yourself, Julie, but the entire team for such an inspirational and ground-shaking and groundbreaking work that you've done here. We were invited to come for the kickoff ahead of COVID. I was certainly there, and I would say that in my capacity over 34 years of nursing, where I started out with pediatrics and ended up in as care coordination for providing services at home and including assessing families for long-term care, that this is just a joyous moment for me to see in particular. Having left pediatrics, I really struggled with the I guess, philosophy that when you're nursing adults, you don't touch them. And that included some of our patients who were demented, frightened, old, frail, or had sensory deficits so that couldn't hear or see anything. So I really struggle, and I wasn't very good at leaving my patients alone for that. You know, I always tried to incorporate touch and feel and give them things. Those patients that were picking at things, I would encourage family members to bring in a small stuffed toy that they could fiddle with. So I think that the principle just speaks to the type of nursing practice that I tried to incorporate. And I know that this is just literally a stunning example and made very compelling by the actual fact and figure of looking at the drug use absolutely decline, which meant patients are going to be more clear, they are going to enjoy their surroundings more, and I'm just so incredibly impressed. So I guess my only question would be, with staff and with showing this type of model to other potential homes and other potential staff that are looking at it. Two questions. One is, will it be easier for you to attract and retain workers in this particular environment compared to others? And secondly, was there any pushback, or did you receive any pushback or some tremulous kind of people that were now going from the no touch to fully engaging with residents to keep them as happy as they seem to be in this home?
Yes, thank you so much for your questions and your kind words. Your first question, sorry, your second question around did we get any pushback? Maybe I'll start with that. I think any change is difficult, and Sunnyside Home has a long tradition of providing excellent care and services. And I think in particular on dementia care, they've always had really well-developed expertise and understanding. But what I think got people on board, maybe more than anything, was seeing during the pandemic how many people were suffering from loneliness and boredom, and just this unending desire to get to that place that all of us went into this work for, where you really know that your presence makes a difference. And more importantly, that the residents have a reason every morning to get out of bed because they're needed and wanted and have a purpose that day and every day. Your second question around retaining staff. Yes, 100% yes. We know that if we want to attract staff, we want to keep staff, we need to tap into what makes long-term care special. And that's the opportunity to know people for a longer duration of time, to build relationships with people, to actually feel the difference that your work makes in their life, and to benefit from the many benefits of relationships with residents that we have, learning from them and understanding their own wisdom and having that opportunity to have a reciprocal relationship. I think it will help us to attract staff who understand our values, reflect our culture, and who went into healthcare because they know they can make a difference. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Councillor Foxton?
Thank you so much. What an amazing job you do. We, the people you're looking at on the screen here, are all getting older, and we all wonder about what will happen to us. And you've just made it a little less frightful. And I pray everyone has a Sunnyside home to live in, because you do an excellent job. So where do I sign up?
Well, thank you so much. We talk about that as staff a lot, that we need to be the home that we want to live in, and that we would want the people we love to live in. And so thank you so much for your kind words.
Councillor Galloway?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Along with Councillor McGarry and I think a few others, we attended that plenary session back pre-COVID at Sunnyside Home on the butterfly approach to care from the people that operate that particular program. And from that point on, I was pretty convinced that this was something that we certainly wanted to attain for our long-term care facilities. So congratulations, Connie and Julie, Kelly and Lindsay, and all the other staff that were involved in the process to get Sunnyside Home to level 1 outstanding butterfly approach. As members of the governance body here at the region, being responsible for Sunnyside Home, sometimes, we might wonder, or I might wonder, how is Sunnyside Home doing? Are we doing a good job, or are we not? There's a lot of debate in the public about long-term care facilities generally. And I continue to be so satisfied that Sunnyside Home is making the mark. Certainly, the ways that I, as a member of council, at the policy level here, can look at this as the patient, the resident surveys, the family surveys, which generally are very positive. The accreditation process that's done by the regulatory agency, which of course we always score quite highly on. And now we have another accreditation process that sets us actually above the mark in terms of standards. So it's really for sitting in this particular seat, it's really quite reassuring that we have a long-term care facility that is exceptional. In light of all the discussion that's going on in the province, and that we can be very proud of. So once again, congratulations to everybody involved.
Thank you.
Councillor Urbanovic.
Thanks very much, Chair Clark, and I too want to echo the praise to our staff team and the wonderful work that's being done at Sunnyside Home. I think, as all of you know, over the last year and a half, I've had to deal with a parent who's moved into long-term care, and while she's not at Sunnyside, she is in another place locally that provides great care, and through it all, I've really come to appreciate what I call the work of angels, which is what I often refer to the staff who work in long-term care homes with our older adults, and it's such important work. It's incredibly important that we do it right. A society is often judged, I think, by how they treat their elderly, and it's when I think of Sunnyside and the work that we're doing, and as Councillor Galloway just said, as a governor who has some oversight over Sunnyside, it certainly makes me proud that this is a part of the community and the organization that we're part of. So thank you to all of you for all you've accomplished.
Councillor Shantz.
Thank you. Just quickly want to add my congratulations as well, and to thank you for your tenacity in continuing with this through all the ups and downs of the pandemic. I know it's been harder than probably you anticipated when you started with it. It's a great model for other long-term care facilities in the region, and just thank you.
Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you. I just want to add congratulations as well. The butterfly is a symbol of beauty and delicacy, delicate life, and your staff have taken that and added to that image as to the beauty of your care and the delicate treatment of your residents. So thank you again. Keep up the good work.
Councillor Erb.
Thanks, Chair Clark. It's all been said. Congratulations. I too was there in pre-COVID for the launch and was impressed. And I think that, if I remember correctly, I won a door prize that day, which I shared with one of the residents that was sitting next to me. So it was interesting to follow the journey of some of the reporting that you've been doing as you were attaining this recognition. And I think what it does is it sets another standard for our community and in our region, which other long-term facility can adhere to. And so congratulations to you and to the wonderful staff that are there to care for people every day with such kindness. Thank you.
I don't see any other hands. I'll just add my congratulations to all of my colleagues. Like Councillor Erb, I have had the opportunity to visit Sunnyside a number of times prior to Butterfly, and I just want to note that I think you had some very, very strong foundations on which to build, because in all of those visits, I just found the home to be first class and the work of the staff first class. So, what I see is you just going from strength to strength, and it's great to see, and it's exciting to see what you do next. So thank you. Any final words, Julie?
No, just thank you so much for your support, your encouragement, and for letting us share this today. It means a great deal to our team, so thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have another, won't say presentation, but an update from staff. And is Mr. Petitpierre online? Can he join us? Hi, Ryan. And you're going to speak to us sort of a brief update on the work that staff are doing in reaching some of our interim housing solutions that that Council asked for last month.
Correct, and through you, Chair, not to adjust expectations too much, but this was just intended to be a brief verbal update, no accompanying presentation this afternoon. But given the importance and the priority of the approvals that happened in August, we wanted to provide a quick update on progress to date, and we'll continue to do so where possible with committee and council. Most of the progress can be thought of on two fronts to date, really around organization and how we've structured ourselves internally as a cross-departmental staff group in terms of an implementation task force and individual project teams to implement all of the solutions that were approved in August as efficiently and as effectively as possible. We've also made some reasonable progress in compiling and reviewing our list of potential sites to host each of the options that were approved in August. In addition to those pieces of work, we are also anticipating going to a public expression of process either later this week or early next week. There'll be two expressions of interest released publicly, one to solicit partners on spaces or properties for any of the solutions that were proposed, be that supportive housing, transitional housing, emergency shelter, or hybrid shelter, looking to add to our list of potential sites to implement any and all of these solutions, public and privately, in addition to sites that we're already aware of. The second expression of interest that we'll be releasing at the same time will be for operators of any and all of those sites. So who in this community and beyond as a provider would be interested in operating any one of those options, so that hopefully in the next couple of weeks we have a solid list of both potential sites and potential operators that we can begin to make matches and negotiate for implementation. So that's largely the fronts that work has taken place on to date. On the communication front, I will also just say, in addition to verbal and email updates that you'll be receiving from staff, we will be getting a Waterloo Region Engage page up and operational again, hopefully later this week, where we will continue to post progress, but also use as a vehicle to answer questions and provide general updates from the public as well. Those were largely the pieces of information I wanted to convey today, Chair. And we'll also add that we will continue to update where and when possible on all these fronts. And based on progress to date, we'll just leave you with the fact that we remain optimistic that we'll have some of these solutions well advanced and in place before the winter months. So that's about as much as I can update on today. And hopefully in future updates, we have more concrete sites and operators to talk about. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have at least one question. Councillor Ivanovic.
Thanks very much, and thanks, Ryan, for the update today. Certainly great to hear of some of the the changes that are happening in order to address some of these issues. Just in terms of the EOI going out, what kind of turnaround are you expecting from people in both of these instances?
Thanks for the question, Councillor, and through you, Chair. We went back and forth. It'll be a tight turnaround, Councillor. We're looking in the neighborhood of 2 to 3 weeks in terms of a response. So I wanted to keep things moving. That seems to be about the minimum that we could have it out there and expect a reasonable response back.
Okay, so I guess the next question would be in light of that. I mean, we know that the Edith McIntosh Center will be closing on September the 30th. What are the plans for those residents after that? Because, I mean, presumably, if it takes 2 to 3 weeks for this to close and time for it to review and then people to ramp up. What's the plan in terms of solutions for those residents?
Through you, Chair, we continue to look in parallel for additional sites or sites that we already have on our list for implementing an additional emergency shelter to both replace Edith Mac and head us through the winter months as well. So don't have a specific site to report on at this point in time for that plan, but it's not necessarily contingent on completion of the expression of interest process, Councillor. We're looking at sites that we are already aware of to try to make replace that site without a gap in service.
Okay, I guess specifically where I'm going with this is, as we know, we're dealing with 2 large groups at outdoor sites right now that are high acuity individuals. Both of those sites, while I recognize there's sites throughout the region, both of those sites are the 2 largest ones in the region right now, to my knowledge. And we're going to have, there's 50 plus people, I believe, at Edith McIntosh. My concern is, come September 30th, that we're not going to see additional people out on the street. Is there going to be a plan in order to deal with that?
Through you, Chair, I assure you that we are equally concerned in having enough spaces for everyone, Edith Mac included. I would hope that we have a space and a provider negotiated in place so that there's not a gap in service, but I can't say that at this point in time because that is not completed.
Okay, yeah, I mean, perhaps we should have some conversations offline, but I would just say that that's certainly a source of concern for us as the City of Kitchener. As you can appreciate, we're hearing significant concerns from the community already, and so it's going to be really important that that is appropriately dealt with, both for those residents and for the community as a whole. I think those are all the questions I have at this point. Thank you.
I believe Mr. Sweeney would like to comment.
Yes, thank you, through you, Madam Chair. Just to reiterate what you heard, our goal is to have a solution in place that would not see a gap in service between when we close Edith McIntosh. We can't finalize that here today, but the goal is for that not to happen, and we will continue to update through you and through the CAO's office, council on those plans.
Thank you, Mr. Petitpier and Mr. Sweeney, and I don't see any other questions or comments at this point. We have no information. We have no other business unless anybody, oh, sorry, Chair Redmond.
I have a question of Mr. Sweeney. Sorry, I wasn't fast enough. And I also have a comment, if I may, at the end. But
yes, you may.
One of the challenges is always going to be the geography of wherever we end up locating interim or shelter space. Can you just comment on the conversations we're having with area municipalities at this time?
Yes, thank you. And again, through you, Madam Chair, as asked at the last meeting at Council, we have built into our plan connections with area municipalities. And in fact, there is a meeting with a specific area municipality, I believe it's tomorrow, related to downtown Kitchener. And we have a standing monthly municipal leads meeting for every municipality across Waterloo region. And we've moved that up from the end of September to later this week as well. So those conversations will be happening in earnest this week. Does that answer your question?
Thank you very much. My comment, actually, Madam Chair, is to say that my understanding is this is your last day as an employee at officially at YWKW. Just wanted to really comment on the leadership you've given around this council horseshoe as well as in the greater community. I hearken back to the announcement that was made by the Prime Minister on rapid housing initiatives, and the Y has certainly been at the forefront of that, and that is due in a large part to you, your team, and your board. Just to say congratulations, job well done. You will be very missed, and true to your character, I know that you're ending off with a board meeting tonight, so it's not like you're taking today off lightly, but just wanted to comment on how much your leadership has meant to this community.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm sure clerks will appreciate not having to deal with all of my declarations of conflict of interest. Our next meeting is on October 4th. I will now ask for a vote to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Councillor Novak, seconded by Councillor Kiefer. Please use your yes or no buttons to vote. And that is passed. I believe we're going to take 5 minutes to get our tech set up for planning and works. So don't go anywhere.